Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another broadcast of Point Park Women's Volleyball, brought to you by Stretch Internet. I'm Nicole Pampina, joined today by Jake Berlin. Our usual partner in crime, Mike Turk, unfortunately could not make it, but hopefully we'll see him next time. We play up against Ohio Christian today for a River States Conference matchup in the Student Center Gym. The Pioneers are 5-0 all-time versus the Trailblazers since they joined the conference in 2015. Point Park won both matchups last year, 3-0 on the road and 3-1 at home. Point Park has tied a season best with its 3 wins in a row. This has lifted the Pioneers to second place in the RSC East Division, currently at 2-1 RSC. Ohio Christian is 1-3 RSC after beating Rio Grande 3-2 and losing to WVU Tech 3-1 last weekend. The Pioneers rank in the top 5 in the conference stats in hitting, assists, aces, blocks, and digs. Senior Ashley Taylor leads the Pioneers with 182 kills and 37 total blocks. Minoski, 239 assists, and libero Morgan D'Angelo with 211 digs to pace the Pioneers. So, to kind of get your feet wet, Jake, what do you hope to see from the Pioneers tonight in this next conference match?
Thanks, Nicole. Tonight, I expect we're going to get a lot of quick punches. This should be a pretty easy matchup for the Pioneers coming in against Ohio Christian, and I'm looking forward to see what they bring to the table tonight.
Gums takes that first pass. Ashley from the outside picked up Ohio Christian. Point Pioneers to start us off here. The freshman Ashley Castelli goes in. Been really exciting to watch her play these past few games. Really picked up well with the team and brings a lot of energy to the court. Ohio Christian playing a little scrappier and a little more aggressive. We see some more swings coming from the front row there, more than we saw in the first set. Not working out for them so far, but very early in the second set still. Back row attack from Ohio Christian goes to D'Angelo. Tucker from the middle. Blast number 12 in the back row there. Point Pioneers. Castelli serves again. She likes that back corner. Ohio Christian likes the outside. Off the block, D'Angelo picks that one up. Dixon from the outside, tight to the net. Ohio Christian gets a little tripped up. Bianco picks that one up. Lamonica able to recover it. D'Angelo puts it back over. Saving that wide ball. Tip over from Ohio Christian. Big block put up. They're going to try on the outside. D'Angelo unable to pick that one up. Now we see Ohio Christian starting to tip a little more, trying to go around that huge block, and it's not really working. And usually that's what you have to do if you can't get past the big block with attack. So why do you think that is, that they're still able to just shut down any offensive attempt?
Well, I think they've just maintained control and really taken advantage of this home court. They're channeling not only the energy between themselves, but also the energy of the fans. And the Pioneers are certain to come out on top if they continue that. So with 3 points left to go, what do you think they need to do to put this one away?
First thing, not miss the serve. I'll say it with Turk a lot, and the people that listen regularly probably hear me beat it like a dead horse. There's 3 serves you can't miss. It's the first serve after a break, and then set or match point. So as we get to these last 3 ones, making sure they make those serves, making sure they're not making the little errors like net violations, and that'll keep them in this game so they can walk away with the win. 2 points to go now, 23-18.
But Brescia, IU Southeast, games they definitely had in their reach, and they just dropped them. Don't you think with me that Point Park is a little better than that 10-4 record indicated on that paper?
They absolutely are, and I think back when we played those teams like Brescia and Southeast, we said it, that they deserve to win those games, and they should have won those games because they're a better team than that, and it didn't work out for them, and that would certainly be helping them now in the long run had they won those games. But definitely a big matchup today to at least clinch this one. The standings, at least for the RSC East, are interesting. It's IU East, Point Park, and WVU Tech. Carlo, Rio Grande, and Ohio Christian barely stand a chance. All very sad losing records. So it all comes down to these games tonight. I'm excited to see the outcome of IU East and Kokomo as well.
You wonder about the IU East, Nicole, how they beat us 3-0, yes, but we went there and beat them 3-1. People are saying it's an even matchup going into the tournament. But you got to remember, Destiny Tucker did not play in that first match against IU East, and it showed in the second time we played them around how we dominated them 3-1 at their own court.
Right, and it shows even with every game that she did end up playing in, is she is a huge pivotal player on the court, and I think one person is enough to make that big of a difference against a team like IU East when it's that neck and neck, and Destiny Tucker was that player.
Rozier plays it. Rozier gets the strategic tip point.
Looking a little, I want to say late is what my head first jumps to there, but still able to snag onto that and get a point out of it.
Ball going tight outside, tipped by Bird. Gum's able to get her hands on it and pressed over the net was Patelli. But going back to what you just said, yeah, we have been seeing a lot of that recently, setting the middle, and they were setting them low against Brescia last week. And were they doing the same for IU Southeast? I can't remember. It was that game too. It was all last weekend. I couldn't remember if it was one or both games.
It's been the past few games actually that the sets in the middle have been low, and it's really been affecting that front line because they have such a good middle, and you can tell that it's throwing off Rozier's and Tucker's timing a little bit.
Set point for West Virginia Tech now. Coach Bielek is going to take a timeout, 24-23. If West Virginia Tech gets his next point, they're going to go up 2-1. What do you think? How do you think the Pioneers are going to respond if they do find themselves in that 2-1 hole?
You know, it could go either way. We've seen two different teams tonight on the Pioneers side. We've seen the ones that kind of get down themselves and start to fall apart and get sloppy, and then we see the ones that are screaming and yelling and fighting back and believing in themselves. So it's unpredictable with this team because, like we said at the very beginning, it's an even matchup. And that's been proven here for the past two sets of play.
What do you think we can expect from this team tomorrow? They got a little easier contest with Rio Grande, but you still can't play too overconfident.
Right, you can't be overconfident, and I think something more confident with Point Park is you can't play down to their level. Like I said, we were saying all night, WVU Tech was such an even matchup. It forced Point Park to push themselves and just absolutely play 100% up. And going against a team like Rio Grande where they're in that bottom three of the RSC East is just that you just can't play down. They have to play the way they did today, or even a fraction of how they did today, because my God, that was just unbelievable, especially in that fifth set there. I mean, I'm speechless with some of the players that came out, and D'Angelo picking up absolutely everything. Rozier showing up at the net with just the little taps and getting those over. Dixon and Gums are just the powerhouses of the team, and it's great seeing these names come up more as the season gets later, because towards the beginning it was just Ashley Taylor, and it still is to a certain extent, but my God, how this team has grown since the very beginning of the season.
But last night, Pioneers got a little warm-up match, if you want to call it that, against Mount Vernon Nazarene University here at home. Nicole, what differences can we see from the Pioneers tonight that we might have not seen yesterday, and what kind of team is on the other side of the net?
That's a great question. It was more than a warm-up match last night. Mount Vernon by far impressed me with their coach of 35 seasons. Just absolutely was stunned. Wish we would have walked away with a win, but I think we're going to see a lot of similarities on the other side of the net. Like you mentioned, Nisa Baker, that sophomore from Fort Wayne, Indiana on the other side of the net. I'm scared to see what she can bring to I know our middles on our side, Rozier and Tucker, have to bring it from there. We have to put a block up. And that was a big issue I mentioned last night, is getting that block up and meeting Mount Vernon, because when we didn't, that's when they would pull ahead, and that's whenever we fell behind and, we're lost. So doing that, tightening up defense so we can set up a strong offense, I think is going to be the key factors. It's the nitty-gritty tonight. Kokomo able to close that gap Pioneers had for a while there. This is where we start to get worried with the Pioneers being able to finish and being able to stay out of their own heads towards the end of the game. And it all usually comes down to the last 5 points of each set. You mentioned earlier one way to get past our Destiny Tucker was the Cougars just push it to the back corners. I feel like if the Pioneers can do that, then we can just give it right back. And I really want to see them work that back line and work those corners. They tried to a little bit in the first set, but as we saw in the last 5 points, were unsuccessful as a lot of those hits were going out.
Nicole Pampina, final thoughts.
Wow. That's a heck of a team. My God, I thought Mount Vernon was incredible. That was just otherworldly. I mean, I love seeing Point Park play like that, but they couldn't they couldn't match something. I don't even know if I can pinpoint exactly what, but it wasn't there. I don't think blocking was there, and I don't think passing was fully there. Like I mentioned, I got a little jumbled there, but their serve receive was on. They were able to run that strong offense, and that's why. And then they couldn't put up the block on the other side. Kokomo, I think, mostly just put life to the term offense sells tickets, defense wins games, because it was just defense, 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 nonstop, and it got to them after a while. So it was a good game. It was interesting to watch, but not exactly the outcome we wanted, obviously. But sure, that's a heck of a team. Oh my God.
Fun game to watch at first. That was definitely very exciting, and nothing but respect between these two schools.